What's up, MVP? Welcome back. This is your Mutantville live coverage of Horrorfind 2007, coming to you live. I already said that once, but we don't care. From Hunt Valley, Maryland. I'm here with my main man, Mikey Diablo of the one and only A Verbal Bloodletting podcast. And we're going to chat about horror for just a minute. So, Mikey.
How you doing, brother?
All right. Good to see you, man. Good to meet you in the flesh at last. Chat with you a lot. All right. We're at a horror convention. What's your favorite horror film?
I think my favorite horror film, not necessarily the best of all time, but my favorite horror film is definitely The Wicker Man. It's scary for all the reasons you don't expect it to be. Most of it happens during the day, and the ending makes my skin want to crawl off my bones. That's what I want at the end of a horror film, and that's definitely my favorite.
Good choice. Absolute classic. The ending of it is one of those just all-time great.
It's so creepy, and it's creepy similar to what 2000 Maniacs H.G. Lewis's film is, because it's normal people engaging in disgusting behavior and loving every minute of it. And it's just great movies. That's my kind of thing. I like mean-spirited movies that have a really gross end like that.
Fantastic choice. And if you don't know what we're talking about the original Wicker Man with Christopher Lee, and just to make, if you don't know the difference, then you get some of that. But anyway, the other one doesn't count. All right, great choice. Well, that should segue us nicely into modern horror. What's your take on it right now?
I think modern horror, like any other era of horror, you have your gems and you have your misses. I think Saw was a good movie, personally, but Saw really set a tone for what was going to happen next. And the success of Hostel kept that going. I think we're hitting the end of that cycle of horror movies. I think with the success of things like Suburbia, 1408, we're going to start to see some more maybe ghosty, not so gross stuff in your face kind of thing. I think it's definitely where we're going as far as that kind of stuff.
And Hope Halloween.
Halloween I don't think there's any choice. It's got to be big. There's too much promotion. There's too much history. It's going to be a very, very large movie, and that also may start a little more slashery kind of stuff, which I'm definitely a fan of.
I love the slasher. It's what I grew up on. So
absolutely. We both pretty much grew up in that F-13 Nightmare on Elm Street era, and when you grow up with certain things, maybe they're not the best films, but they certainly feel like they are when you're that age. I have a very soft spot in my heart for Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, which a lot of people hate, but it's
3 is the one for me.
I love 3, but I have a soft spot for 4. There's something about sticking a needle finger into a pizza and pulling that pepperoni that's screaming. I love all that stuff. Even the dog peeing and bringing him back.
Great.
Absolutely.
Good effects by Rich Johnson in that one. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, cool. Well, for those of you who don't know, Mikey Diablo is founder of A Verbal Bloodletting podcast. They do great horror podcasts. You can find them over at MySpace and the newly launched AVerbalBloodletting.com. But what we want to know is what inspired you to say, hey, I'm going to do my own horror podcast?
I think what inspired me the most was I'd heard some sort of podcast about like music or something. I'm like, well, if they can do that, I can do this. And this is what I love. This is what I love to talk about. And I think for lack of something better to say, I said, I've always been the type of person to say, well, what does that guy have that I don't have? And I can't answer that question correctly because he doesn't have anything I don't have. And if somebody else isn't going to hire me, well, then damn it, I'm going to create my own castle and become my own king. And that's kind of the way I looked at it, Why wait for somebody else to help me? Help yourself, That's really what I think inspired me, I think, honest to God, when I say this, our show is the best on the internet as far as I'm concerned, because it's my show, because I love it, and that's what it is. Come to AVerbalBloodletting.com. I mean, there's no other else to say. I don't hate on anybody, who does their own thing and has, puts their balls behind it. So I think that's pretty much answered your question.
Well said. And you kind of answered my last question too. We always ask people, what do you want to tell people about?
Yeah, come to our website, AVerbalBloodletting.com. Listen to all the new shows. Check out the fun pictures, everything that we're going to have over there. We're also going to have some reviews, and the difference between our site and a lot of other sites is that you're going to get a feel for the people that are reviewing what you're seeing, get a feel for the people who are broadcasting. We are taking, I guess, for lack of a better term, a restaurant approach in that we want you to come back because of our personality. And I think people will definitely, flock to that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Anybody that hasn't checked out the podcast yet, you should definitely do it. You owe it to yourself to listen to the passion that Mikey puts into what he talks about and enjoy it, because it's a very entertaining podcast. So, all right. Well, thank you for your time, Mikey D. we'll see you here at the rest of Horrorfind here, and of course we'll find you back on verbalbloodletting.com. All right, peace, Mutantville. Till next time.